Hi, Sean.
Hello. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Tuesday evening. I'm going to be muting everybody now, and then I'm going to share my screen and we'll rock and roll. Okay, we're all on mute. And I'm sharing screen. We've been working through this book, Your Body's Sign Language, and we're going slowly but surely from head to toe. And we've done the eyes and other bits and pieces and the hair. So this week we're going to go down a little bit further, and we are going to be looking at the nose. And so I just want to stop this for a second. I want to change one little setting. There. Okay. And hopefully you can still hear me. I cannot see anybody, so if there's an issue, please somebody message me. Right. The body sign language, and we're doing the nose and ears this week, which is our sound and ventilation system. Okay, can you see my screen now? Yes, no?
Yes, Sean.
Okay, perfect, thank you. That's what I need to, yeah. Right, so we're doing the sound and ventilation system this week. And where's my pictures coming? There we go. Environmental challenges and deteriorating quality of nutrition is leading to lung problems, which causes a decrease in oxygen intake. And I'm going to throw in my own little chirp on that one and say that wearing masks all the time is probably doing a similar problem, although there's another big debate on that line. Decreased oxygen intake can lead to circulatory problems. This decreases the efficient delivery of oxygen and nutrients to our body, which in turn affects our health, because as we know, our body needs oxygen. And just like your car's engine, you can have as much fuel as you like in the engine and as much spark as you like in the engine. If there's no oxygen, your car is dead. And so are we. Poor nutrition during development can lead to incomplete development of sinus cavities and ear canal. This can lead to a lifetime of breathing difficulties and ear infections. And this goes to show how important and vital proper nutrition is from probably before, well, from the time you're thinking about conception right the way through, not just from the time that you know that you're pregnant, because that is where we start. We start with one cell. And if conditions are not right, there are going to be problems later on. Environmental factors can lead to hearing loss, which is often gradual and difficult to detect. And this comes a lot from we using these things in our ears all the time. We're listening to computers and TVs and hi-fis and cell phones, and there's cars and all sorts of noise around us. And some people living close to an airport have got bigger problems. And you don't notice it because it's subtle and it's gradual. A simple way of testing your hearing without even going to an audiologist is to hold your hand roughly about shoulder height and rub your thumb and forefinger together. If you cannot hear a distinct rubbing sound, get your ears checked by a professional audiologist. So it's just that simple little test over here and over here, because as we know, both ears should be listening in stereo. There's a fun little sign called an allergic salute. And this results in a wrinkle about 1 centimeter above the nose tip, often marked by blackheads in adolescence. So if you're looking at people who are wearing their mask around about here, you'll be able to see their noses. And they tend to do that or that, which is where the wrinkle comes in the nose. This is a common allergy indicator resulting from a runny nose. And you often see little kids running around and doing this all the time. Might be a cold, but it's quite probably more of an allergy. Creased nose develops in response to wiping or rubbing the nose continuously due to clogged sinuses, which often is a result of allergies. And that's the sort of thing that you're looking at, where child is doing that, and you can see the creases on the nose over there. We make every effort to find the cause of clogged sinuses and runny nose, because your sinuses run along this section of your face and above the forehead over there. And when those sinuses become blocked or inflamed, I think you are pretty much aware of it, because either you have this blocked sensation and sometimes a feeling of deafness. I know I have that problem every so often. Or if you have major allergies, massive inflammation happens in the sinuses. And that was the first indication for me when I had COVID, was my sinuses were badly inflamed, which is very unusual for me. The brain desperately needs all the oxygen it can get. So your brain is your main center, or your hard drive of this little computer that we call the body. And it needs all the oxygen and nutrients it can get. Breathing impairment leads to impaired thinking. And this is what makes me wonder at the moment, with kids being forced to wear masks all day at school. How is that impacting them? And is this going to be a problem later on? We won't know for quite a while yet, unfortunately. So the suggestions on this: avoid sugar and foods that make the sinuses run. And there are quite a few things that can trigger those sinuses, usually allergy related. So if there's no clear-cut allergy, then it's sometimes good to even get booked into hospital if you're on a medical aid, to have a full battery of allergy tests done. And they take bloods and they do skin pricks and all sorts of different things to find out exactly what your allergies are. And there are many, many allergies these days. We need to consume a nutrient-rich diet. There again, we get our balanced diet, and that is crucial. And if you're not getting your nutrients from your diet, you need to supplement. The main supplements here are cod liver oil. As I've said before, we don't have cod liver oil as such in South Africa. It is known as, or labeled as, vitamin A and D, but that is the cod liver oil that you find in the States. We also need omega-3s because they are anti-inflammatory and antioxidants. Now, because the sinuses and the lungs and the tear ducts are water areas, flavonoid is the supplement of choice there, or the antioxidant of choice there, because that is water soluble and works through all these high water soluble areas, or watery areas. There's our vitamin A and D, the salmon. That salmon works amazingly well as an anti-inflammatory for many different things. So any inflammation, basically, you can take your salmon oil for that. And then obviously the flavonoid complex. And as we know with Neolife, we don't just get one flavonoid, we get the full range of them. Ear infections. Ear infections are shown by swelling and inflammation of the inner ear, often with a bacterial infection. This is known as otitis media. And I don't know if Jenny remembers, but growing up, apparently I was a living nightmare because I got ear infections with every tooth that I cut. Jenny had other issues. I got the ear infections. And that's one of the things from childhood I remember, that regularly having drops in my ears and being on antibiotics for ear infections. Ear infections are the most common reasons for pediatric or doctor visits, because it's a common problem with children with the swelling and the inflammation, because when your sinuses swell, that fluid runs, if it doesn't run out of your nose, it runs out of your eyes through the tear ducts, or drips into the ears, or goes down the back of your throat, your postnasal drip. A study by an allergy investigator with the name of Dr. Talal Nsuli found that 78% of patients with recurrent ear infections had a food allergy as a contributing factor. Found that very interesting. I know I do have some dietary constraints, but it would have been interesting to know back then what other food allergies I had, or probably still have. Allergies and food sensitivities are difficult to identify due to the vast number of possible culprits. And they can range anything from milk to wheat to outside influences. There's a whole lot of food allergies, and I would say that people can probably be allergic or highly sensitive to pretty much any food that's available to us. Allergy clues in young people include a Jekyll and Hyde personality, meaning that they friendly and happy 1 second and crying and screaming and little terrors the next second. Sleep disturbances, so they don't sleep well during the night. And you do know the definition of sleeping like a baby. He's awake every 2 hours crying. Skin problems, which you obviously will see on the face or the tummy. Digestive complaints, often complaining of sore stomach. Leg aches, restless leg syndrome is another one over there. Elevated pulse, that is your pulse that you take on your wrist. Fatigue, so children who have got no energy, or even adults that have got no energy. They sometimes make these funny sounds in their throat, which is almost like a tick, I suppose you could say, but it's continual. The wrinkling of the nose, as we've already spoken about. Earlobes that go red. Circles or puffiness under the eyes, as we spoke last week about the allergic shiner, and the wiggling legs or restless leg syndrome. Prolonging breastfeeding decreases the risk of ear infections. So that is why it is so vital to have a mother that is doing breastfeeding, and the longer that she can do that, the better it is for her as well as for baby. Suggestions. Again, sugar is a big problem in so many allergies and diseases that we have today. So we need to watch those sugars, specifically the refined sugars. The complex carbohydrates are still okay because your body will use whatever sugar and convert the sugar as it needs it. But your refined sugars are the problem, and it's the hidden sugars that are the biggest culprit. We need to identify and avoid allergens. It sounds so simple, but it's not that easy. I have a niece who I jokingly say is allergic to life because she is allergic to everything from wheat to grass to dairy to eggs to, I think she's also allergic to soya, to pet dander, you name it, she's allergic to it. Fortunately, she seems to be growing out of a lot of that, but she has a shopping list of allergies. Supplement with cod liver oil, vitamin A and D again, and supply all the essential nutrients in a varied and balanced diet. Once again, if you're not getting it from your diet, you need to get it from a supplement. An earlobe crease. Everybody look at your ears, or maybe get somebody else to look at your ears, and you have a look and see if there's a little crease down this part over here. I'm trusting that you can see me on the screen. It looks like that. Not a tear from a failed pierced earring, but something that looks probably quite normal, but is that little crease in the ear over there. The earlobe has a very rich blood supply. Creases may indicate an increased heart disease risk due to oxidative damage to the circulatory system, partly because the blood supply in the ear is not getting the amount of oxygen that it needs. Oxidation of blood vessels reduces their flexibility and leads to increased blood pressure. Oxidation is the human body version of rust. And you know what rust does to a smooth moving joint? Makes it very rough and not moving so smoothly anymore. And because your blood vessels are being oxidized, it's harder work to push the blood through there. Sorry, I'm not seeing. Okay. All right, my apologies if pictures are not coming through, but it should come through on the recording. A major cause of heart disease is stale or oxidized foods. And some foods we might think are fresh, but they're not always. Antioxidants prevent cholesterol from turning rancid, both in food and the human body. And cholesterol We will get into that in another talk, but cholesterol isn't really the enemy. Cholesterol is vital, in fact, in your body for all sorts of different things. It's when that cholesterol sits on the artery walls and oxidizes and clogs, that is where the problem comes in. Vitamin C and E, carotenoids and flavonoids, all been shown to protect from heart disease because those are all our antioxidants. Vitamin C and the flavonoids are the water solubles. E and the carotenoids are the fat solubles. Vitamin C has the ability to support, protect, and regenerate other antioxidants, such as vitamin E, glutathione, and carotenoids. Glutathione you will find in things like vitamin B and in our shake. So vitamin C is vital and plays a major role in the body in all sorts of different areas. Vitamin C in nature is not just vitamin C. It is always accompanied by flavonoids. And that is one of the things that we need to tell people when we sell them vitamin C, is that we're not just getting vitamin C, you're getting all bioflavonoids with it. And for a real potent kick, you can have vitamin C and flavonoid complex together. Flavonoids improve the ability of the body to use vitamin C, and that's why it's a good idea to have both. Flavonoids also prevent death from heart disease, reduces the tendency of red blood cells to clump together by 40%. That is quite significant. Prevents cholesterol from oxidizing, therefore keeping it running quite safely in the veins and the arteries. And it strengthens connective tissue and blocks enzymes that can destroy it. And connective tissue you will find in vein walls, and one of the areas that you'll notice the lack of it is when you see people with varicose veins. Fat-soluble antioxidants, like the carotenoids, are also important for preventing heart disease. Generally, vitamin E is the most abundant antioxidant in bad or LDL cholesterol. And as you know, our vitamin E is not just one, but is actually a combination of all 8 of the varieties of vitamin E, going from the tocopherols to the tocotrienols. We are unique in that one, just by the way. One study showed a reduction in heart attacks by 75% in people with bad hearts by using vitamin E. Tocotrienols are missing in most synthetic vitamin E supplements because most synthetic vitamin E supplements are made from crude oil. You cannot hope to find the full complement of 8 of the E's in something like that. Yet they inhibit the critical enzyme involved in cholesterol synthesis. And most vitamin E's will only have the tocopherol, not the tocotrienol. And that, again, is what makes us unique. Suggestions: eat fresh foods. And I'm not talking about straight from the garden, but as fresh as possible. We need to obtain all the necessary nutrients, emphasizing the B complex vitamins and the antioxidants. There's our Bs. The other one that you're going to get a lot of Bs in is Formula 4, as well as Beta-Guard. We need to supplement generously with vitamin C because vitamin C is water soluble and flushes out of the system very quickly. That's why we have a sustained release vitamin C to stay in the system for upwards of about 6 hours. Hair in the ear. It's not just those bald people whose hair slipped and gone into the head and falls out the ear, as certain of our salespeople like to tell us. Each ear hair suggests an increased risk of heart disease. Who would have thought? More significant when accompanied by other signs, such as the earlobe crease. Check out people's ears. Low testosterone levels may be indicated by chest pains, which is essentially cramping of the heart, known as angina. It was what my grandmother had. hardening of the arteries, otherwise known as arteriosclerosis, big fancy word, elevated blood sugar, your diabetics, elevated blood fats, which is your cholesterol, and triglycerides, which is what they test for when they do blood tests, and the doctors have a little panic attack when they see that. High blood pressure, which is all interrelated, and obesity, which again is all interrelated. And because of all of that, you have an increased tendency of blood clots. A blood clot on its own is not a big deal. As I often tell my patients, it's when it meets up with its buddies and goes walkabout through your body and it lodges in the heart, not a good sign or not a good ending, lodges in your lung, which is incredibly painful, or lodges in your brain, which leads to a stroke. Suggestions: don't rely on just one sign as a problem indicator. We need to be listening to our bodies and looking at things. It might just be something simple, but it might be something more complex. If in doubt, see your doctor. Men with heart disease may have low levels of testosterone. I don't know why the two go together, but that is how it works. Hearing loss, very common these days. Modern technology has led to subtle hearing loss from music amplifiers, and especially teenagers who go to these music concerts, they often end up with temporary hearing loss over the firearms, heavy equipment, etc., which is why when you go to a shooting range, they will give you earmuffs, or on a construction site, they'll give you ear protectors as well. Ear sensory cells are damaged by both noise intensity and length of exposure. So it might just be one single big bang, but if you listen to the music amplifiers or even have music piped through your headphones at a higher level for an extended period of time, that can cause damage to the hearing. Hearing loss isolates people and can lead to depression. And just imagine blocking your ears and sitting in a group and trying to follow a conversation. You very quickly get frustrated, and that is where the depression comes from, because you feel isolated and locked away. Proper nutrition can go a long way to help to protect the ears from loud noise, because your hearing works on tiny little bones in the ear, as well as hairs in the ear as well, and fluid too, to a certain extent, which keeps your eardrum moist and flexible. Antioxidants such as glutathione can help prevent hearing loss. The amino acid cysteine, vitamin C, and lipoic acid help to increase glutathione levels. All of these you will find in Neolife Shake and NutriShake. Are we not impressed with our SAB for putting all of this together for us? Magnesium appears to help a lot in preventing hearing loss. I have no major idea at this stage how or why that works, but there's another marketing tool for you when you're going to sell your magnesium. Vitamin B12 and folic acid, which is also vitamin B, deficiencies can lead to hearing loss in older women. And that is why it is so important that pregnant moms need to be on a vitamin B supplement. Suggestions: avoid prolonged or very loud noise. Simple, but not always that easy. And as we said, it's quite subtle, so you don't always notice it. We need to maintain adequate protein, vitamin B complex, and magnesium intake. We need to supplement with vitamin C, lipoic acid, and other antioxidants when exposed to loud noises. It also works with being exposed to excess sunshine as well, just by the way. Long face syndrome. And when I was going through all of this, I was imagining people that I know and that I've met with a lot of these common problems. So we need to be fairly observant when we're out and about with friends and family, because they might very well have a health challenge that they're unaware of, but that we can now learn from this and pick up and warn them. This reflects early malnutrition, especially the bone building nutrients. And this would be young mom maybe who drank too much soda, not enough milk, they don't have enough calcium in their system, and there are problems in baby from conception. A narrow face can be linked to crowding of the teeth and other dental problems that can make chewing difficult. And it's almost like a, for want of any better description, but a horse face where it's long and narrow. Nutrient deficiencies over a few generations can lead to a long face. So it might not be your parents' fault, could be your great-great-grandparents' fault. So you can tell from back then as to what nutrient levels were like a few generations back. It is not impossible that the face could widen in young people if the diet is improved. And again, these sort of things can be turned around. So if you know somebody who had the problem, educate them and try and breed it out of them if necessary. Suggestions: eat a wholesome diet with as many raw foods as possible. God never created the microwave oven. He created plants that grow straight from the ground, which we need to eat as they are. We need to supplement if you don't get your nutrients from the diet. The essential nutrients, oops, my time's running low here. Essential nutrients for bone building, including calcium, magnesium, protein, cod liver oil, and trace minerals. So there, your multi-minerals is very important. Mouth breathing. I'm doing a lot of that at the moment with wearing silly masks in hospital, and especially the N95 version, because once it clamps over your nose, you can't breathe through your nose. And this is generally indicated by difficulty in breathing through the nose, and therefore they breathe through the mouth. Mouth breathing is often a sign of allergy or malnutrition, preventing proper development or functioning of the sinus cavities. I'm going to speed this up a little bit, I'm afraid. Breathing patterns are best detected after sleeping because nasal breathers have more relaxed facial muscles, while mouth breathers often sleep with their head and shoulders forward. And this leads to headaches and poor posture because their whole body is crimped forward like that. I have a son-in-law who I've picked up all of these issues in. Chronic mouth breathing can contribute to sleep apnea, and that is where you quit breathing while you're sleeping. Teeth grinding, which can also be a sign of stress. Hyperactivity, because your body's not getting sufficient oxygen. Difficulty in swallowing, for the same reason. And bedwetting, especially in younger children. Suggestions: babies need to get breastfed for as long as possible. You can eliminate mouth breathing by eliminating allergens or whatever measures are needed. You need to purify the air in the home or car to decrease inhalant allergy responses. This is where we need to push our cleaning products because they are natural and don't end up with irritants in the air. One picture that I didn't pull up over here was different plants that one can put in the house to clean the air as well. Runny nose. We all know what runny noses are like if we have a cold. Nose drips or runs almost continuously. This is often connected to allergy, not just colds and flu. Foods creating the strongest and quickest nasal reactions are chocolate, banana, and corn. Other problem foods include, and there was quite a big list of this, wheat, milk, citrus, eggs, cabbage, coffee, cola, and tea. This is why we said foods can be a big problem for allergies. A diet free of cereal grains is often all that is needed to clear nasal symptoms. Identifying individual allergens is difficult, although not impossible. Nasal symptoms are common in those with chemical sensitivity. This is again why we need to push our golden cleaning products. Antioxidant levels are usually depressed in those with sinus problems. Supplementation with fish oils high in EPA significantly decrease nasal discharge in allergic exposure. We need to avoid allergens. Easier said than done. Nasal sprays containing saline solutions or xylitol may be helpful. Speak to your pharmacist. Purify indoor air. That's where my picture is. There's a lot of air purifying plants that are available. Stay away from sugar. Again, supplement with antioxidants and other essential nutrients. Supplement with fish oils, anti-inflammatories. And there's the best one that we know. Sleep apnea is breathing repeatedly stops while sleeping. Person often wakes up when breathing stops, gasping for air, and this results in sleep deprivation with a lot of other issues. Sleep apnea causes a depletion in oxygen at night, possibly leading to heart disease and Alzheimer's disease. Lack of vitamin B1 has been associated with congestive heart failure and sleep apnea. B-complex vitamins may protect from some of the risks associated with breathing difficulty. Physical activity and weight loss can prevent complications from sleep apnea. So that's a good thing to be done. Physical activity may be difficult if thyroid function is low, and this is a well-known cause of sleep apnea. We need to avoid caffeine if we have difficulty sleeping. We need to avoid the chemical solvents, avoid caffeine and sugar, and eliminate allergens from the diet, as well as from the air. Supplement with vitamin B complex and omega-3 oils. Supplement with antioxidants. And that is the end of my presentation. Right, apologies for the rush at the end. If there's any comments or questions, we've got about 5 minutes left. Please unmute yourself.
Sean?
Yes.
Sean, you talk about the long face. Now, some people have a round face, some have an oval, some have longish. I think I'm more longish. My dad was like that. But how long is the long face that you talk? Is it exceptionally long? I'll just tell you why I also ask you this question. I don't know if it, when you say long face, because is it then associated that the tube from the ear to the nose are very narrow? An audiologist told me, I've got a little bit of hearing loss, and I saw him and he said, you're thin, and it can have something to do with the face that your whatever, I cannot really remember, it was about 2 years ago. It's very narrow because of you are narrowly built.
Correct. And
he had allergies and sinusitis. I said, I don't have sinusitis or whatever, but he insisted on this narrow tube.
And I've got a slightly pointy face as well, but a person with a long face has a very prominent pointy chin. And when you see the pictures, you'll actually pick it up straight away. You can do a Google search for long face syndrome, and it's actually very prominent. And quite often they've got teeth that are sticking forward or missing, or the teeth are growing at odd angles, that sort of thing, because the jaw has been sort of squeezed down. Growing up as well, I think part of the problem with my ear infection was I had a eustachian tube which runs underneath the eye over here, that we were told my one tube has got a bit of a kink in it. So if I had a buildup of fluid in the nose or sinus area, my ear would feel blocked. And the doctor did say I would grow out of it, and I did pretty much grow out of it, but that was also part of the issue because of the tubing that got kinked underneath my eye. So yeah, there are different types of or shapes of faces. You get your square, your round, your long, but it's a prominent long face, and you would recognize it straight away.
He insisted that he just look at me, he didn't know me. He just insists because you're not big. No, I mean, if I eat a lot, I can be fatter, but maybe it's just because it's my diet or whatever. But he insisted that because I'm narrowly built, or what did you say, thin or slim, I don't know what word he used. Therefore, you will easier get hearing loss because everything here is narrower and so on. So I was just thinking a structural thing also that can.
Yes. Okay. Definitely.
Yeah.
Sure. We've got about 2 minutes left. This is why I find the book so fascinating. Go ahead.
Vitamin A and D works on the mucous membranes. That's why it's also good for this whole situation.
Correct. Now in the States, their vitamin A is more water soluble than ours, and it works a lot quicker, but it still works over here.
Okay.
Sean, would you say if a child have middle ear infection when they're teething, will they have sinus problems later in life?
It's possible, but not always. As I said, growing up, I had that problem, and I don't generally have sinus issues that much. Occasionally I do, but it's not very often.
Okay, that's interesting.
My eldest sister has major issues with allergies and sinuses.
Sure, this is a mouthful. Everybody has to get that book.
Yes,
Mine is on the way.
good. All right.
So
I'll
what
tell
book is that,
basically-
Sean?
It's called Your
What book
Body's,
is that?
It's called Your Body's Sign Language by Jim McAfee.
Okay.
And it's available on Amazon.
Well, all right.
With the customs together with the price of the book is 800 Rand to get it here.
No, but you know what happens when you order books on Amazon and whatever around here from America, they never get to you.
No, they generally
I've
do.
done this before. I've never get to, I've ordered before. I've never got it. And I'm waiting for a book now that I ordered also. It's been 2 months, only 3 months. I'm still looking for the book. The post office is supposed to be tracking it. I'm waiting.